Okay, so here concludes the first part of the course where we saw the basic operations that we can perform on NumPy arrays. Now let's move on to the second part where we'll see some applications of this library. We are going to see a few examples to get an idea of how to apply this library in a real context. And let's start using the library to generate random numbers. Generating random numbers is especially useful when we're working with machine learning models or other programs that need random behavior. NumPy allows us to create arrays with random values, but in order to do that, we need an object called the random number generator, which is the object that will generate those random numbers, and we're going to call that object rng. We'll obtain that random number generator calling the default rng function from the NumPy library. rng is a number that will allow us to generate random numbers in several ways. The first one is using the random method that will generate an array populated with values between 0 and 1, and the resulting array will have the shape that we specify in the arguments. Let's make it an array of 3 rows and 3 columns. Here it is. An example where we might want to use matrices with random entries is when we are initializing the weight matrices and vectors of a neural network. In this case, this random method would be perfect. Also, we might want to generate samples that follow a specific probability distribution, like the standard normal. To do that, we call the standard normal method on the random number generator and we give it the shape that we want. In this case, let's give it 2 rows and 4 columns. And this generator will create values sampled from the standard normal probability distribution and use them to populate this array. We can also generate integer numbers using a method called, of course, integer. We're going to tell this method to generate integer numbers between 0 and 10, and the shape of the array will be 3 by 2. 3 rows, 2 columns. The random number generator can also pick randomly elements from another array. For example, let's create an array with values between 1 and 20, both included. This array will have a single dimension. Well, using the choice method from the random number generator, we can make it pick 5 random elements from this array. And also, we can shuffle the elements of an array. To do that, we'll create a copy of the range array that we'll call range array copy. And we're going to use the shuffle method to obviously shuffle the elements of that array. The shuffle method works in place, which means that instead of returning a copy of the array that is shuffled, it will shuffle the original object, the array that we pass, as an argument. We can also make a permutation of the array using the permutation function. We give it as input the range array, and this time it will create a copy automatically and reorder the elements inside. And not only that, we can give it an axis as argument, and it will reorder the elements of each row or column of that axis separately. For example, if we tell it to do it in the 0 axis, it will reorder the elements of every column. Or we can give it axis equals 1 if we wanted to shuffle the elements of every row.